Hey guys, I finally recorded a Starfield video, but I'm afraid it's not what you think. I finished the game a month ago but didn't feel like making a video. Starfield is sadly the biggest gaming disappointment of my life, especially the outpost system. I actually gave up on my outposts. These prefabs are just not interesting to work with. Bethesda killed any creativity that both Fallout 4 and 76 allowed, and I'm still not over it. My dreams of building cozy little settlements on lonely planets went up in smoke. What am I supposed to do with generic looking mining outposts? So I settled for furnishing my Akila player home. Initially I wanted to just make a short video of that, but then I felt I kind of owed you guys an explanation why it took me so long and why there aren't any other Starfield videos coming and why there might never be more Starfield content. I simply don't find the world of Starfield interesting. The storytelling, world building, and companions are painfully boring and sterile. It's not a world I want to spend any more time in, and I'm not sure mods can fix that. You cannot fix bland writing with mods. Having played Baldur's Gate 3 prior to Starfield did not help, of course. The drop in quality was shocking. But even judged by Bethesda's previous games, Starfield is a 6 out of 10 game for me at best. Bethesda killed what made their game special: exploration and environmental storytelling. It's gone. Without interesting exploration, the game relies on the main and faction quests to teleport you to somewhat interesting places. People argue that the writing was never Bethesda's strong suit, and it's true, but now that there's nothing to do in Starfield but following the terrible main story, it becomes painfully obvious how lacking the writing is. The narrative has to carry the game because exploration is gone once you've seen the handful of points of interest repeated on every planet. And it's not like I had an issue with the storytelling in previous Bethesda games. It wasn't amazing, but it was fine. I actually liked Fallout 4's main story, and I thought Far Harbor was their best work, genuinely great. I expected Starfield to at least be on that level, and I would have been happy. The main story actually pissed me off. Spoiler alert. The whole time the game tries to tell you that the Starborn are nihilistic, power-hungry assholes and that life should be about the people you love. That's what the Pilgrim realized. But then at the end, you're bullied into entering Unity anyway by everyone, leaving behind your friends and even your lover. Why? You can't even finish the game if you refuse. What father would risk being separated from his 10-year-old daughter? Why did I bother to fix Seb's family problems? So that he can rob his ex of her child anyway? What kind of nonsense is that? This uncreative multiverse nonsense ruined the game for me. Nothing you did felt like it mattered. It boggles my mind how some people needed to suffer through several New Game Plus runs to realize they'd become the hunter. It was obvious that this was what all that stupid temple grinding would be about. Mindless, pointless power grinding. My girl Lynn Starr was smart enough to reject that, but wasn't even given the role-playing choice to live happily ever after with Andrasia. Great job, Bethesda. It almost feels like the Starborn and New Game Plus mechanic is a mockery of the kind of players who waste their lives doing the same stuff over and over for nothing. That's all that Starfield is to me. Empty. So I guess, even if Outposts didn't feel like a feature they abandoned halfway through development, I wouldn't enjoy it. The universe of Starfield doesn't have any of the charm of the Fallout universe that I adore so much. No humor, no real conflict. The world is a functional future where people more or less get along. That's not interesting. So anyway, this is what I did with the Core Residence. First off, imagine my surprise when I first entered and found out it doesn't have a window. So basically I purchased a bunker. But I guess that's slightly less insane in choosing the dream home, an entire huge house with no windows again. I'm asking you, have you ever seen a house without windows? I don't know what Bethesda was smoking when they made this game, but I want some. At least the dream home has a balcony, so does the New Atlantis apartment you get for completing the Vanguard storyline. But my girl here is a patriotic Frister citizen, so she will happily live in this claustrophobic hole with no daylight and not even a garden outside. I did my best making this place look good without any mods. Starfield is actually the first Bethesda game I purchased on release, playing vanilla. Honestly, if I could, I would have refunded it and waited for DLC and then purchased the complete edition for a good price, like I did with Fallout 4. so I guess decorating was always going to suck without a mod like Plays Everywhere. The vanilla display cases are a broken mess, of course. They have insane collision, allowing only super small objects to be placed in those huge display cases. You can't display armor, it's a joke. On the bright side, textures look great. The graphics overall are really good for a Bethesda game. That is not the game's problem at all. Well, the washed out colors are bad though. I purchased an OLED monitor for this game, ironically. Yeah. But in fact, textures look way better than in Cyberpunk 2077, and I do like the NASA punk aesthetic, especially the interior design of Akila, with all the wood and furniture, just beautiful. And now of course Akila City looks like a dump where people live in shacks that look worse than Diamond City in the post-apocalypse, and that makes no sense whatsoever. Starfield is a game where ideas just get smashed together without any coherence, so that's why we have a rundown Wild West city and a cyberpunk one and a bright futuristic one. Just a theme park of shallow ideas. Neon, the dingy crime hellhole featuring a club that looks so posh and upscale you'd expect New Atlantis suits to frequent it. Compare Neon to Cyberpunk 2077 and it's beyond ridiculous how tame and inoffensive Starfield is in every way. I really wish the game had humanoid alien races. Anything to make the setting interesting, and I love for cool settlements with different people like ghouls and super mutants in Fallout, on top of human factions. Oh well. I would say Starfield's best feature is shipbuilding. I enjoyed that the most. I wasted a lot of skill points on outposts initially, so it took me a long time to unlock all ship parts, which is why certain story battles were impossible to win in my crappy A-class ships. Or maybe I just suck at space battle, I don't know. The Star Eagle I upgraded to C-class and added cargo pods so it looks beefier, but overall still the same. It's my favorite vanilla ship design in the game. The Razor Leaf is just a recolor to do its name justice, plus 2 cargo pods. Same story with the Wander Well. Yes, I like green. By the way, I really regretted taking the kid stuff trade, because not only are the parents UC citizens and super posh, the background also has your character growing up in that apartment. Totally ruined immersion for me playing a 3-star character. The Scarab is my favorite unique design. It cost around 700,000 credits to build, I think. I've seen more creative Scarab type builds, but I'm happy with that. Just sucks that the biggest cockpit in the game has a crew limit of 2. I have space for like 10 people in there. I think the type of module you install can increase the number. Apparently crew quarters isn't among them though. Okay. Oops, talked over the unimpressive hijacked enemy ship redesign. Turned the Kepler R into the biggest, ugliest monstrosity out there. Not that it was pretty before. The Stingray was my first small B-class ship that I really liked the look of. Had decent firepower for a while. I guess shipbuilding is where people can get creative in this game, not outposts unfortunately. But without mods, even ship designs are limited. I really struggled with adding decent cargo space without making ships so heavy they can't fly anymore. Shipbuilding feels like the most competent part of the game. One thing I wish it had though was interior previews, and especially control over where the ladders are placed. It's a gamble what you end up with. It's just too bad that Starfield doesn't do much with ships outside combat. I barely spend any time in my ships aside from managing my inventory and using it like another loading screen before I can go where I actually want to go. That's the problem with the game. Each feature feels segmented, nothing really flows together. As if the dev teams worked on their features in isolation and in the end they put it together, realizing it's not really fun, but we're out of time and money to make this game an organic, fun journey. Nobody sets out to make a bad game. I think space was straight up a mistake. They couldn't fit into their usual winning mold. Exploration of a handcrafted map and procedural planets and points of interest just doesn't go together. Exploration in No Man's Sky is also very shallow. There's not a lot of variety. After 30 hours or so you've seen it all. It's the same here, but arguably worse because of the barren rocks kind of realism the game is going for. I didn't even bother decorating my ships because I read that the armory is bugged and your stuff will disappear after a while. I don't know if that's still the case. I stopped playing before Christmas. Also very annoying is all the clutter that is automatically created but which then gets dumped into the inventory of the next ship you make your home ship. As if inventory space wasn't ridiculously low in the first place. I really can't afford to have 60 plastic cups in my inventory. So yeah, inventory is bad. I was immediately struck by Fallout 76 PTSD. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that this sort of bullshit would be put into the next single player game. It makes sense for a live service game. Make the stash limit so low that people are willing to pay for Fallout first to be rid of it. Very disgusting business practice, and eventually I gave up on Fallout 76 because I realized I spent half of my playtime over encumbered trying to manage my inventory instead of having fun. This sort of thing has no business being in a single player game. Yes, you can mod it away, but that doesn't excuse what Bethesda did here. Why do mining outposts have such ridiculously low cargo crates? Makes that entire feature absurd. It's not like you don't have infinite storage at the lodge. Just thinking about all those hours spent snail walking with all my stuff from the spaceport to the lodge makes me angry all over again. Starfield pissed me off the longer I played. The experience got worse and worse. All those people defending the game saying it gets good after, 30 hours, 60 hours, are full of shit. It does not. And I tried to like this game, I really did. I spent 207 hours playing this game. I made 3 characters for different factions because, hey, role-playing game. I kept looking for the good stuff. And there is fun to be had with the faction questlines. Unlike the abysmal fetch quest main story, they were actually decent. By Bethesda standards. Compare Starfield to other RPGs like Baldur's Gate 3, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Cyberpunk, the storytelling is still pretty bad. But I did have some fun. I'll give the factions a 7 out of 10 overall. Decent. Starfield is not a bad game, just a painfully mediocre one that does nothing better than the competition. It feels like Bethesda spent the past decade in a bunker unaware that the industry has evolved while they're stuck in 2011 when Skyrim was popular. Games now have beautiful cinematics rivaling Hollywood blockbusters. I played Cyberpunk for the first time after Starfield and it's ridiculous how well presented that game is. Starfield uses the same clunky dialogue camera as Oblivion. It's bizarre how outdated Starfield feels in spite of the overall decent to actually beautiful graphics. Bethesda is really getting left behind in the dust if that is the best they can do with this engine. It really pains me to say this, but Starfield might have been the last Bethesda game I bought. They lost their magic, in my opinion. I didn't initially want to show my abandoned outpost. There is nothing to see here but a beautiful location. But then I decided to turn this video into a kind of review of the game from the perspective of a fan. Former fan, I guess. My opinion of the game might be more negative because of the colossal disappointment that is base building. I was so ready to leave the Commonwealth behind at last and be a space cow farmer. It's especially infuriating because there even is a settler faction in the game called List. I helped those settlers out. Why can't I join them and build my own settlement? Why did we only get mining operations with ugly empty prefabs? I want to build a beautiful farm like the one I visited during the Rangers questline. These prefabs don't even exist anywhere in the game except for the round ones I eventually encountered on Paradiso. Except those have actual walls inside and an open large glass wall. Outposts were clearly not designed as settlements like in Fallout 4. They are boring, useless mining outposts with functional but sterile habitats for the temporary workers, I guess. The greenhouses look beautiful, but you can't even connect them to the habitats. And the animal pens are also a joke, so I didn't even furnish it. Gave up when I couldn't even build a bathroom. I'm certain that mods will eventually allow people to build whatever they want using all the building kits in the game, like in Fallout 4. The difference is, I don't like this world and I don't care anymore, frankly. Right now I'm so disappointed that I even want to touch this game again. Took me months to do this video, wasting more of my time on Starfield. So thank you for watching this video so that it wasn't completely for nothing. All 5 of you who bothered to click it 5 months after release when it was popular to shit on this game. I actually didn't start playing until November because I was busy having the time of my life with Baldur's Gate 3. All the negative reviews had me worried, but I thought it was all overblown. I never cared for space battle in the first place. I don't mind loading screens. I thought despite my own hype, I had reasonable expectations of a Bethesda game. Well, turns out the negativity was warranted and outposts really do suck balls. I might return to this game for base building when mods take off after the release of the creation kit, but I might not. So I apologize to those of you who were looking forward to my outpost builds. That won't happen anytime soon, if ever. On the bright side, I already finished another Fallout 4 build, and it's something special this time. A settlement inside a giant metal scorpion. I'm super excited to show it off. I hope to upload it by Sunday or next week at the latest, so stay tuned. This channel is not dead, just my hype for Starfield is.